Today I'm going to show you how to make a hat using Tunisian crochet. You're going to need about 500 grams of double knit yarn, any type. You're also going to need a size 5 Tunisian hook. This pattern starts with the brim part of the hood and it ends with the crown part of the hoodie. We're going to start with a chain of 48 chain stitches in your first one. Then your first row is the forward pass by pulling up loops to your hook, Make sure you don't make your first row too tight. Make sure it's nice and loose and keep that tension until the end once you've got your 48 loops on your hook. Okay, we are almost finished with our first row. Keep on remembering and concentrate to keep your tension the same through the entire row and not too tight. And then that one there. Is our last one. Oh. The first, your return row, make a chain stitch onto your first one and yarn around the hook and through 2 loops. Yarn around hook through 2 loops. This we're going to do for the entire row until the end. Through 2 loops. Continue doing this through until you get to the end of your row. We are almost done with our first returning row, where we pull the yarn through 2 loops until we get to the last one. Now we're going to start with our second row, where we're going to do the brim first. Now you already got your first loop on. When you pull your stitch a bit, you'll see there's 2 loops. Let me just get this to show you. There's 2 loops, the front loop and the back loop. Now to make the brim, we're going to work in the back loop of the next 9 stitches. Let me show you. You've got your first one on. Now we're not going to use the front loop, but we're going to go to the back side of our work and we're going to work in the back loop and pull your yarn up. Now the next one, we're going to use the back loop and pull the yarn up. That's number 4. There's your next one. Make sure you take the back loop of your stitch. And there's your next one. The back loop. In total, we need to have 10 stitches on. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 and 10. This will be your brim. Make sure all your stitches is nice and loose and that your tension is the same on all of them. 2, 4, 6, 8, 10. Now we're just going to do the normal simple stitch of Tunisian and using the front loop for the remaining 38 stitches of this row. And still keep your tension the same. It's very important with Tunisian work to keep your tension the same and not too tight. Otherwise your work will curl up at the ends. We're almost done with our second row. Just make sure your tension is the same everywhere throughout your work. Now we are at our last stitch. Oh, come on now. Where we're going to make our last stitch. Yeah. And now for our return row, we're going to make a chain stitch into the first one. And then from there, we're going to pull through the yarn through 2 loops. Yarn over needle and through 2 loops. Yarn, pull through, yarn over and pull through 2 loops. This we're going to do until we get to the end of our row. We are almost at the end of our second row. We just continue to do the same, pull through 2 loops until the end. And pull through. Now for this next row, we already got the first loop on our needle. We can look at the 2 loops. We're again gonna work in the back loop of the next 9 stitches. Pull through yarn, go to the back loop of your work, pull through, next stitch, the back loop. Take your yarn and pull through. Three, 5. 6. 7. 8. 9. Back loop, 9 and 10. Two, 4, 6, 8, 10. If you want to, you can put a stitch marker here and make sure that your brim line is the same throughout. Then you also know where your brim is starting. But from here on out, now we're just going to do the front loops until the end of this row. Until you get to the end of the row. when we get to the end of our row, gonna make our little stitch there. Chain 1, pull through 1, and then yarn over needle, pull through 2 until you get to the end of this row. Pull through 2 until you get to the end of your row. You can already start seeing the pattern here where your brim is and where the crown of your hoodie is going to be. Before you get too far ahead with your hoodie, make sure that your hoodie measures from the one point to the other 12 inches. It must be 12 inches. If it's not 12 inches, use a bigger needle or a smaller needle. Don't make your tension a bit tighter. Rather use a bigger needle, bigger hook to work on. You're going to continue with the same stitches until your work measures 21 inches. That is then enough for a lady's head, for the brim to go around the head. I'll see you then. Once you're done with approximately 63 rows of your work, it should be more or less 21 inches. Then you know you're done. Then you can end your work. When you end off your work, make sure that you've got enough yarn to work the sides together. This is the right side of your work. This is the inside of your hoodie. So, and this is the size that's on your forehead, and this is the back of the top of your hoodie. So right sides together. You're going to take a needle, embroidery needle, thread your yarn, now this 100% cotton yarn that I used likes to twist and turn, so just make sure that it doesn't happen. Okay, so then we start to work the two sides together. First put it on that side. Now if you've got a huge piece of yarn like I've got, this start is always a bit difficult. There you go. And you can just make sure that you've got the two sides with the rows corresponding to each other. And you can start. Those two correspond with those two. And then back. the 2 end stitches there correspond with these two. And you're going to go on like that until you get to the end of the yarn and end of your side of your hoodie. I'll see you then. Once you're done putting the sides together or work the sides together with your needle, we're going to do the top part of your beanie. Now you also take a nice long piece or a thread of yarn, and we're going to start here on this side. And we're just going to thread that all around into the top row or the last row of your work. Make sure when you pull through that you don't pull the whole piece of yarn through. This we're going to do all around with even stitches. Until we get to the end of the row. Nice and all around. Don't make your stitches too long, otherwise you'll see at the end that when you pull it together, it's not going to give you an even ending. Okay, we almost are all around our top of our little hoodie. Make sure you go until you get to the same place that you started. Same stitch. Okay, then you can take out your little needle and we're going to pull both sides, or just one side at a time. But pull until you get your work real nice and close. It won't close properly like a magic ring. When you've done, you can't get it closer to each other. You can tie the 2 threads together so that it stays like it is. Also make a double knot just to make 100% sure. Then you take your long piece of thread again, put it in your needle, and work this 2 pieces together. I would like to work from this side. It doesn't really matter. And you're just going to work these 2 pieces together so that you don't have a hole on top of your head. Make sure you only put your needle in the top row and not there in the bottom rows. Otherwise your hoodie is not going to look that good. And when you're done, you can end off your work. And work away your ends. When you're done working your ends together away, you can pull your hoodie around with the right side to you. You can put a little pom-pom there, or you can just leave it like it is, but there's your little hoodie ready for the winter.